this is Doris Sander with Coco Daisy, and welcome to our Planner 102 class. I'm very excited to be here with you this month. In this first week, we're talking about our planner styles. So I wanted to introduce you to how I plan on a monthly basis and a weekly basis and a daily basis. And I have all my Daisy Dories in here. And I wanted to give you a little idea of how my planning has evolved over the last year and a half, because we started our first Daisy Dory a year ago, September. So I have all of those here in this handy basket. And since I'm talking about my handy basket, some of you might wonder about storage. I keep the current year in this front section chronologically, and then that little bit of the year before is in this second section. And my son is 13 now, and he finally wears a shoe size that requires a shoe box that's large enough to store these. So a size 10.5 Under Armour is the perfect height to store these, and I'm very excited about that fact. So yeah, I will be storing these in an Under Armour box at the end of the year, moving them in to make room for 2017. So anyway, let's get started in my planner. First off, let's talk about the month. So this is my month at a glance page, and I always fill this out. There have been a couple months where I haven't really, and I just felt very inept those months. I don't know what it is about filling this out, but it really makes me remember the most important things. It really does. So, how I keep up with my important monthly items is in the back here. I just have this blank, it's Midori brand calendar. These I printed off and taped in the front. But yeah, I just filled out all of the months as ahead of time, so that this was for forward planning. So as something comes up, I'll just quickly pencil it in back here so that I know about it and I know there's no conflicts and things like that. And then as a new month comes along, I'll flip back to the current month and see what I need to transfer here. So the act of transferring it here, I think, reminds me of everything that's coming up in the month. So that's a good thing. And I think that this planner is a little bit bulky and not cute. But this is my first year doing the Midori. So I'm very excited for January to get here and to have a new insert, because I'm going to do it cuter for year 2, definitely. So I'll keep you updated on what I find for that. But anyway, so yeah, my month at a glance. And I really like the day in the life kits for tip-ins and decorations and all kinds of things in my Midoris. But usually I would say maybe 80% of the months, 80% of the time or so, there's a calendar with a Monday start. So on the flip side is a Sunday start, and this one is a Monday start. And I always, when that's available, I tape it in the front here, because the calendars are a Sunday start, which I like. Visually, that's what appeals to me for month at a glance, because that's traditionally how my mind has always operated. It's standard Sunday start. But when I'm doing my weekly planning, I prefer a Monday start for the work week. So I like to have this to reference when I'm filling out my weekly pages. So that's how I do my monthly situation. You can see here I've incorporated a lot of cute stickers. I like it decorated. Sometimes, like this month, we had 2 weeks off from school and we had a trip to Florida. So when that happens, I'll either pin in long lines, or more often I'll use thin washi tape to be a little more decorative, but also to quickly visually denote that there's something happening for the duration of those weeks. And you'll notice through here that I'm very visual, so I like things that clue me into something visually very quickly. You know, a car, obviously. Let's go. The trip there. So yeah, so I'm not going to go over all of my planner today because I use it for a lot more than just planning. I use it for brainstorming and goal setting, which is planning, but I also use it for recording information about our weeks and our months, and just all sorts of memory keeping in here too. So I'll get to that in another week when we're talking about those topics. But today I'm talking about planning. So monthly planning and then weekly planning. And I really am a week at a glance type of planner. I know some people prefer the ring bound planner systems because they have the daily sheets and that really works well for them. But I traditionally have been a week at a glance. I like to see my whole week laid out and fill things in that way. So this system really works out well for me. So the main thing I think that I do differently from a lot of people is that I like little, again, visually, I like little tiny spots to write things in, so I know where to look immediately. And this reminds me of the Erin Condren style. You know how people have the 3 sections, and morning, noon, and night, or they'll cover it up and make it categories like housework, real work, kids, or whatever. I didn't mean to imply that housework isn't real work. I just don't do it. I mean, I do it, but anyway. So yeah, so these, again, visually provide categories for me. Most often, this 4 grid here, and this is just a printable that I've created, and I think we're going to provide that for you if you want to try it out. I'll make sure you get the link to that. But when I first started, this is for school. I'm a public school teacher, and I work at 2 different schools. So initially, this was my morning school to-do list and my afternoon school to-do list, and then errands after school and evening tasks. So I had it divided more or less during the day, and visually, you know, you automatically cue in to what's going on in different parts of your day. I really, really like that. Here recently, I have started using a bullet journal for work, so these don't necessarily need to be work tasks anymore. So I've started doing it more categorically. Like this first box, I've moved it to be before school. So trying to motivate myself to do that one little, 10 minutes of housework isn't going to kill me. So that one little task before I leave for work, it really makes a difference when you come home and, there's something in the house that's tidy. So that's that morning. And then this one might be computer tasks or housework tasks. You can see this is a common problem for me right now. But something like that. You can divide it into categories. It could be housework, yard work, errands, and computer. Any kind of categories you want. But visually, this really works for me as a trigger, having different spots on the page to put my tasks in. You'll find when I do the brainstorming and goal setting, I'm very much into list making and categories. It's just how I operate. So other things I wanted to tell you, these little boxes here, these are more little places to encourage me to get more out of my day. I mentioned that this first box was before school. So I had started with just one box, and it was like the one chore I was going to do that morning or that I got done that morning. Having an empty box just tells me, hey, what are you going to put there? So that would motivate me to do something. And then I decided I needed to get my kid to do something too because he's 13 and he can contribute. And obviously don't expect him to do it before school. You know, we have enough trouble getting out of the house on time. But just that empty box clues me in that, hey, you know, what has Gabriel done today? And then I can write it in. So little visual cues really help me to plan more and get more done. The other thing I wanted to show you, these are just recent things. That's what I love about this style of planner, is that it's pretty already. The Cocoa Daisy planners are just gorgeous and fun every month. They're just so inspiring. But I like that they're still very much a blank slate to write on. And so I'm constantly rethinking and evolving. And here at the end of the year, I'll definitely go through and try to see how my system's working and how I can tweak it for the new year. So these are just some things that have come up through the course of the year that have helped me and gotten me more motivated. So one thing is the stamping. These are cute. They look decorative, and they are, these little leaves here. But I've been using them as trackers. So the red one is to take my iron pill, and the green one was, did I get my 10,000 steps? So, and I just checked it off. And for some reason, I know people have, you know, those big grids where you have, you know, all 31 days and you check it off. I've tried that month after month after month, and it just doesn't work for me. I don't know why. I can't, all those little boxes, I can't remember what day I've done it and what day I haven't. But for some reason, this visual on the days, I can remember if I've done it or not. It works for me. So I think that's important when you're planning, is to just take an idea like a tracker and try it multiple times. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't mean it's a bad idea. It just means it's not working for you, and try to think how you can evolve it and change it and make it work for you. I just love that. I love the planners and getting excited about tweaking them and reworking them and doing more. I just love it. So anyway, another thing that I've started using are these little, I guess, task bars, the little banners in our sticker sheets each month. I never used those before because my handwriting is tiny and they're kind of widely spaced, but I started a few months ago just I was trying to use these sections more. So I started putting one for like 3 tasks for the week. What big 3 tasks did I want to do? And I found out that if I put them there and wrote the task like double lined, it filled up the space nicely. It really, see right here, each task takes two lines, so it fills it up nicely. So yeah, so I started on these sections trying to do more and get more into the planner. So one thing I did each week was 3 tasks for the week, and that grew into using them. This week I've used them several times because we're on vacation, and so I have more time. You know, during a work week, you know, you might not get something done every day, but when you're on vacation for a couple weeks, you have more time to do those tasks around the house and get a little caught up, you know. And then I also figured out that instead of checking them off, I can put the little circle stickers to cover them up when I've done them. And that is fun for me because I'm very much into using my things. And about 3 months ago, I started the challenge of using all my stickers, and it's really been fun. So I've just been figuring out more and more ways to use them up. And one way is to put the little circles there, and it just makes it that much cuter, I think. Here's another one, the hole reinforcers. I don't need those since I'm in the Midori, so I don't have holes. But I like to cut them in half and use them as little markers in my boxes. Like there's one I just think it's really cute. So there's that. And another thing I want to mention is that encouraging myself to use up all my stickers has really inspired me to do more in my journal. Sometimes they trigger thoughts, like journaling thoughts, like, you know, if I don't use this for anything planning wise, I can use it as a journaling prompt in my book somewhere, and I just really am enjoying that. I really like that I'm using the things that I have, you know, because once you use them, then they become even more yours, in my opinion. Because once they're attached to a moment or memory, they just are even more meaningful than sitting in your desk collecting dust that way. I mean, they're collecting dust here too, but they're collecting dust with memories attached, so I really like it. And let me see, another thing I wanted to mention was highlighting. When I first started, I used to always, my original planners back when I was in Spiral Bound for years and years, I would cross things out as I accomplished them. And the more I started writing in these, the more I realized that that wasn't visually easy to see. So I started highlighting things when I finished them. And that really works well for me because it's easier to see that what you've done. Obviously, I didn't do my ironing, see? So I had to write it all the way over here again, iron, because I have to go back to work tomorrow. So I need to iron. I use this color bar for meal planning. So I haven't meal planned all week because I've been on vacation. But last week, you can see I started the meal planning before we went on our Florida trip. Nachos, taco salad, leftovers. So this is visually, this is where I look for meal plans. Very, very, very visual in these planners. And let me think if there's anything else that I need. Oh yes, I did want to tell you about, I was mentioning these sections. So this is my planning, where I'm actually my to-dos for the day. And these sections, I wanted to use them more. I don't want blank spots. I want to use my whole planner. And really, this is just a tiny amount of space for planning, so surely I can fill it up, right? So, like I said, I use the 3 tasks for the week in one box. I tend to make my weekend start here at the top of Friday so that I'll have 2 extra sections here. And that way, since this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday have to share a spot. So Saturday is the first 2 and Sunday is the second 2. So by leaving these 2 open for the weekend, that gives me a little more weekend room should I need it. And also, who doesn't want to pretend that you've got an extra weekend day? Friday's the weekend, right? So these 2 I use for the weekend, and on this one I tend to do forward planning. So I don't know if I have any here, but a lot of weeks I'll put a little arrow on one of the pages for forward planning to write down what you need for the next week, because I tend to plan a week in advance, and that's the same reason I do the monthly planning at the front every month. It's because it freshens my mind on what I need to do that week. It gets me in the mindset for the week ahead. So I don't write things in my planner ahead of time. I wait until the week of to do it all. So if there are things that I want to remember that I need to do the following week, I'll either put them in the forward, like if this was my forward planning section, I would write them here so that I would look there to add them to the following week when I did that week. Or I do like I did here and just stick a little sticky note in there. But I really like to, on Sunday, sit down and do my week at one sitting to just get my mind ready for the week ahead. That really works for me as well. So we have the 3 big things to accomplish that week. We have the weekend and forward planning. I also do a Project Life box. So I have another Midori that I'm using for Project Life. And I write down the week, and then I write down any major things that go on or minor things that go on that week that I want to include in my Project Life, and that helps me remember. And then I keep another section just as like a rapid log. Bullet journals call it a rapid log, or I just call it notes, a notes section. But I keep one of them just things that come up that that aren't things that you have to do, but things you want to remember to check on or whatever. I keep them in that rapid log so I can think about them later. So yeah, so these sections, I'll have the project life, I'll have the to-do section, I'll have a notes section, I'll have a forward planning, and the weekend. And so everything is very categorized for me, and that's just how I plan and organize my life. I do it in categories. And you'll see more of that the week that I talk about goal setting and brainstorming. You'll see a lot more of that in that week. And then one more thing that I wanted to mention was those weeks that you're just not very motivated to get things done and your planner looks empty. I have started, and this is another evolution, but I've just started making little notes. You know, after a few days, I see if my planner is looking empty and neglected. And the days have already passed, so you can't go back and do things. But I'll just go in and make a few cute little notes about what happened that day. And it's just, I don't know, it's fun. Like here, we were traveling back from Florida, so I wrote a little map, Tennessee to Florida. And I made a little box of my kitties trashed the house. You know, those are just fun memories to look back on. So that is how I plan. And this video is already 21 minutes long, and I had wanted to share some of my planner evolution with you. So I think I will stop this right now and regroup and make a little addendum video to show you evolution of my planners over the last year. So thanks for watching, and I will be back very soon. Bye.